The Russo brothers returning to direct the next Avenger movies. 2024's Emmy nominations announced with Shogun and The Bear leading the way. And to tie it off, we review The Acolyte. Is it the worst Disney Plus Star Wars series to date? What the duck is up, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Duck Takes. I'm Blake, and as always with me, my co-host Garrett.
Hey, guys.
Today, we're going to talk about The Acolyte.
Why do you feel the need to sing things?
You got to get the people excited, especially for The Acolyte, right?
It's going to take a lot more than that to get people excited for this.
All right, but before we dive into that, we did get some breaking news today before we talk about The Acolyte. Marvel is in talks with the Russo brothers to direct the upcoming Avenger movies.
Wow.
Yes, the Russo brothers are probably coming back, which I think this is where the Russo brothers are most comfortable. I think Marvel is like where they need to be. If you look at their track record in the MCU, Winter Soldier, Civil War,
Pretty good.
Infinity War, and Endgame.
Pretty good.
I say that's 4 for 4 when it comes to the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they'll be able to do the same thing with what they got to work with now, but...
Right. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
'Cause you had a lot to work with.
Yeah, you did.
Considering actor-wise as well.
Uh-huh.
RDJ, Iron Man himself.
Yeah, like, how do you fail with those tools?
Right, yeah. But yeah, we've seen that like their projects outside of the MCU definitely have not given us any hits between the Gray Man and God, what else? I don't know. There was
I don't know.
I don't
really keep up with the Russo brothers like that.
No, there's a few projects they produced as well that didn't do great.
Uh-huh.
So I think this is definitely the right decision for Marvel and for the Russo brothers. So it's kind of like a win-win. Because they were having a hard time finding a director for their upcoming Avenger movies.
Mm-hmm.
And there was talks of Sean Levy, who is directing Deadpool and Wolverine, to do them. But he decided to turn that down. And yeah, I think overall this will be the best move for them.
We'll see, bro. I genuinely don't have any faith in anything like geek related anymore, you know?
And nothing?
Not really.
Really?
Nothing hit. What would I?
Are you feeling somber just because of The Acolyte?
Possibly. It's kind of bringing me down for sure.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. Everything's just so inconsistent. I don't know what to trust. Marvel, I could trust that they would make at least a decent movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't trust that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure as hell can't trust Star Wars anymore.
Yeah. Consistency is tough.
Yeah.
It is.
They're losing my trust.
Right. I think, and that's, where, you know, that saying really becomes true, you know, either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's very true with this kind of stuff. Because it's hard to be so consistent when you're putting out like 50 projects.
Yeah, that was their own damn fault.
Yeah, there's a higher chance of you dropping the ball on a few of them the more you put out.
Dude, I remember I literally could not keep up with Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, I could not with how much shit they were releasing.
In other news as well, we got the Emmy nominations for this year. Shogun leading the board with 25 nominations, and season 2 of The Bear in second place with 23 nominations, which is the most nominations for a comedy show.
Yeah, I know. That's very interesting that they categorize it as that. I mean, it is a dramedy, but
A dramedy,
I'd
yes,
say
but
it's a very dramatic show. I'd call
much
it more
more
drama
dramatic.
than comedy.
much more dramatic than comedy, for sure. Especially the more this show like progresses. I think season 1, there was definitely like more of a thin line between comedy and drama.
Yeah.
But then season 2 really showed us like more of a dramatic side.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen in season 3, yeah, it's
just a drama.
It's a drama
with some humor in there.
Yeah, exactly. And the previous record for the most nominations of a comedy show was held the last 15 years by 30 Rock. And I mean, yeah, that's a comedy show. They had 22 nominations. And get this shit, because I actually kind of went off about this on TikTok before doing this review. So The Bear season 2 has 23 nominations. The episode Fishes from season 2, which when we did our review of season 2 of The Bear, I said that was one of the best episodes that I've ever seen, not only in The Bear, but in TV, period.
Uh-huh.
And that is now one of the most nominated TV episodes ever, including Best Directing, Best Writing, Best Guest Actress, and 2 Guest Best Actors with John Bernthal and Bob Odenkirk.
Best guest actors. You messed it up. It's
What'd I say?
You said guest best. It's okay. Keep going.
I said Guest Best?
You said guest best.
Jesus.
Just keep going.
Best Guest for both?
It's the second time.
Oh, okay. And Best Guest Actors. All right.
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk and John Bernthal were nominated for Best Guest Actors. And I swear to God, the Emmys has a chance to do the funniest thing ever, but it's not funny, man. If Bob Odenkirk wins a fucking Emmy for his guest appearance in season 2 of The Bear,
in a single episode instead of an entire show,
but no wins for his role as Saul Goodman,
yeah,
I'm gonna be so hot.
Yeah,
It's gonna be so hot, bro.
that's bullshit.
Better Call Saul, 55 nominations, 0 wins.
That's criminal.
That's insane.
It's criminal.
It really is criminal. And I feel like, not that this would be, because this nomination is very much so deserved of Bob Odenkirk. Like, he's an amazing actor. And that episode was one of the best ensemble performance I've ever seen. But the last few years, you're starting to, I feel like there's a lot of like sympathy wins or like sympathy votes, you know?
Yeah, like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, because everybody was like, how in her entire career, how has she not gotten this award? How has she not gotten her flowers? And so they just kind of like gave it to her for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I was like, really?
When I think Stephanie Hsu, who in the same damn movie was easily more deserving of that award, and Carrie Condon that year, I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis was the last person in that category that I was expecting to win. It just felt like a career win.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're starting to see those recently in the last few years. They even gave Angela Bassett like a lifetime Oscar award.
Yeah.
It's like, no, bro, like, fucking give her an award for the roles that these people deserve to win for.
Yeah.
That's been pissing me off.
Honestly, I feel like that's kind of what people feel. Not that he didn't deserve for Revenant, but I feel like everybody always says like there's other Leo roles that he should have gotten that shit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we are seeing more of those happen lately. But yeah, moving on to our topic of the day. It is The Acolyte and mainly the season finale, but I am going to poke at, the earlier things that happened in this season that I was really questioning and bothered me and why I think this show really isn't worth your time.
All right, so let's go ahead and give our like spoiler-free thoughts about what we think of the show, and then we'll dive more into like the specifics that we either liked or really grinded our gears.
So this show to me, it very much reminded me of like other Disney projects where it's like at the beginning it was like it's an okay show with some highlights in there that you might want to go watch. Like there was some decent lightsaber fights, but to be honest, I haven't done like the breakdowns of those. I've heard people going and watching breakdowns of these lightsaber fights where like, yeah, they look cool, but if you pay attention, it's like they're literally going for each other's saber. They're not actually trying to.
But you could argue that with the prequels, I feel like.
I mean, you can. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done the breakdowns, but there have been breakdowns of the show and the lightsaber fights and how it's just like, if you pay attention, it just looks goofy when you slow it down.
Okay.
But yeah, I just think this show can be characterized by average writing with average acting and just not really generating a real connection to any of our characters besides maybe like 2 people.
It's been a problem with a lot of the Disney Plus shows where nothing feels episodical.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the episode, wait till next week to find out what happens. It's not like leaving me with a cliffhanger or something that makes me want to watch the next episode. It's
dragging it out.
Yes, and they just expect you to come back to watch.
Yeah. And yeah, that's been a problem with these 6 to 8 episode shows on Disney Plus. Felt really no connection to our characters in this. Like, there's no interesting characters. I think overall,
there's one interesting character.
Chimere.
Yeah.
Chimere. However you say
I think it's Chimere.
A lot of people have been saying Smilo Ren.
Yeah, Smilo Ren.
I think the themes are like there, but in the grand scheme of things, in order to really bring this grand of like a plot or theme home, you need to have interesting characters to bring us home. And I just don't think there are any, I just don't think the characters were interesting enough, and we weren't really getting any good deliveries from our actors. Like they were trying, some of them were trying their damn best with the script that they were given.
Yeah.
But just very
can't do much.
But a very like stale performances by a lot of the characters in here.
Also can be characterized by just bad storytelling in general.
Right.
Like the story that they had, I wouldn't even say is horrible. And that's in the sense that you're ignoring basically everything in Legends that people know about Star Wars, and just like other, and even canon information. If you just like, if you ignore that, the story isn't terrible. It's just the way that they delivered it that comes out so horribly. But if you are like many Star Wars fans, though, they do care about those things, which is
a lot of Star Wars fans do.
Yeah. I can't. So this is just another, and that's a main reason for people to hate on this show, is what it does with things that are already canon and kind of retconning things that were unnecessary.
Yeah, because things like changing a birthday, I don't think is the big issue here. I think it's just showing a little more level of respect for the content that came for the projects that came before it.
Yeah, just the source material.
Right, because this is a very daring show within the Star Wars world.
The things they do are very bold.
It is very bold. And I think where the controversy comes in is that this is the show to be doing those daring things. For instance, with showing some respect for the stuff that comes before, you know, Clone Wars, 7 seasons of Clone Wars, you don't have Anakin meet Grievous because of a throwaway line in Revenge of the Sith.
You're shorter than I imagined.
Right.
Literally, that one line prevented Anakin from meeting Grievous the entire series of Clone Wars. That single line, and they came so close even to the point where Anakin was knocked out while being in the presence of Grievous during a prisoner exchange. And, you know, just one small thing that they respected, and it just seemed like, you know, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want for Acolyte, I mean.
Right. There may be things that aren't a big deal because either it wasn't in canon or it's legend, so like they can change it. Yeah. And it may not seem like a big deal because of that, but why not? Like just show the level of respect that other creators like Dave Filoni has showed the past projects that brought us to Star Wars world.
It literally is just about respect at the end of the day.
Yeah, because like those throwaway lines, they matter.
They do.
They matter for continuity.
Yeah. And, you know, we're trying to create a universe here. And the more you don't pay that respect,
it makes it more it sloppy.
It's going to make it messy. Yeah. And make people just be like, why is that happening? Why I thought that wasn't supposed to happen. And it's just like, and yeah, they can retcon things. They can, you know, just retract things that have been said previously or have a different explanation for it. But it's like, why do it? Because now I feel like for those people who do truly care about that shit, you're making them focus on that instead of the actual story that you're trying to tell. Like they're so caught up in that they can't pay attention to what you're trying to show them.
And I feel like that's caused Leslie Headland to have to go do interviews literally after each episode to try to explain what the point that she's trying to get across.
What
she's
the
like
fuck they were thinking.
Yeah, she's trying to have to explain her story after each episode in the interview because people are like, they're confused.
That shouldn't have to happen.
No, it shouldn't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Of the things that I did like about the show,
yeah, take your time.
I thought Chimere was interesting.
Chimere.
Yeah,
he was literally the highlight of the show,
but he got sidelined in that second half of the season a lot. They had this whole big reveal, and then they sidelined him.
His helmet was cool.
Yeah. I like the lightsaber battles.
I liked his the lightsaber battles were cool. His understanding of the Force I liked. I think he was just definitely the most interesting character that they put on screen, and then he had like one episode to shine. That was it.
Yeah.
In his one episode that they gave him time to shine, they immediately switch storylines and go back to the past for the following episode. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And then we get to the finale, and then they picked up where episode 6 left off.
Yeah.
And I was like, this should have been episode 7.
Yeah, it felt weird. I agree. Was not a fan of that flashback episode. It was like a chopped and screwed version of episode 3 that I just thought was unnecessary. They literally were just reusing scenes.
We're getting into details now.
Okay, that's true. Okay, things I liked: Chimere, lightsaber battles. I think that's it. Actually, I think that's it.
I think Soul was like the most likable character.
To be honest, I really started to dislike Soul.
I liked him more in the beginning. I'll grant you that.
Mm-hmm.
But his character does start to unravel towards the end.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I think I'm done with the likes. It's not much. It's just very it's a very aggressively okay show. Like it's going to be forgotten. No, well, it's not going to be forgotten about because
it's not going to be forgotten because of all the shit that they
but,
tried to retcon and just
I feel like
just angering longtime Star Wars fans.
I feel like that's just a whole nother discussion in itself because I think there's arguments to combat on both sides where you think they were either retconning it or not. But it just wasn't a very memorable show. That's what I'm trying to say.
So I can summarize this finale with like one word, which would be confused.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't understand Osha or May's motivations to do the things that they did.
Uh-huh.
A lot of loose ends left. Like I felt no resolve or satisfaction of any kind from the end of this episode,
which is never the case in these Disney Plus series that are trying to go for another season. I think that's what Disney think leads to a season 2 is like, oh, we need to end this season with a bunch of loose ends so that we can have another season. As to where like Prime Television, there is 100% resolution.
There's resolution for like 90% of it.
Yeah.
And then you leave that 10% for let's see what happens next in the next season. Not like 30% resolved, 70%, let's wait till next season. Again, that's some bold shit. That's some bold shit to think you're that good that you can leave that much unresolved.
Yeah.
You're going to leave your viewers confused and angry and annoyed that they just wasted their time watching 8 episodes to get 0 resolve at the end.
All right, so what are you confused about? You were confused about Osha and May's motives at the ends.
Yeah,
like they were wearing different colors, so obviously you saw the foreshadowing coming that Osha was going to turn to the dark side and May was going to.
I mean, foreshadowing, call it what you want. I mean, Jesus, she was wearing May's fucking clothes. That's right. Because that's all she had.
For the power of one.
Shut the fuck up. I'm confused as to how people are getting information. I don't know. I feel like this was supposed to be like all, hidden in secret and, trying to keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people know about this thing that they're trying to keep under wraps.
Right.
With the Jedi, with the Jedi killings and everything and a Sith Lord. I don't know. I just feel like too many people know about this shit.
But they're thinking that, Soul is dead. So Vanestra can just lie to everyone and go from there. No one knows. We're good.
I don't know. But you know what? I'm just going to go through the order of events that happened in Acolyte that when I saw it, I was just like, why? And so for one, when we go back to Soul and he's talking to May as she's tied down on the table.
Yeah.
And uses the pip droid to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck did he leave the pip droid on her?
In her pocket.
She was unconscious and he left. And it's not like it's hidden. It's not like it's under her shirt or something.
Right.
Or, put away. It is readily available and ready, like so easy to see. I'm like, did you just forget that she has this multi-purpose tool that is used to work on electronics and you're using electronic locks for cuffs?
So in the second half of this season, Soul, I think, became the dumbest Jedi I had ever seen.
Yeah.
Like the man was irrational, emotional, just fell apart. And this is a master, a master Jedi master.
That's a whole nother thing. I think they made the Jedi Masters and the Jedi Knights just to be these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And the Jedi Knights especially just these incompetent morons. I'm like, these are They passed the Jedi trials, huh?
Yeah. No, a lot of
they passed those trials, huh?
a lot of the Jedi Knights. I was like,
I'm like, did the standards get raised heavily? And like, yeah, I don't, you know, like, and it all started, and it does start when they try to humanize and make jokes about these Jedi. We have the example of Venestra. They talk about her, you know, stomach problems or, you know, whatever. She gets queasy when she jumps into hyperspace, which is, very common for a fucking Jedi. Yord, when he's doing his laundry and they walk in on him shirtless, I'm like, really?
What? Okay.
Like, I feel like if the Jedi Order was like the military and you get caught like that, I feel like that's some basic training shit that like you always have your shit in order. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that should never happen. Or like, but what?
That he has his shirt off?
I don't know. It just, maybe not that but like he was clearly embarrassed and like was like, oh, I shouldn't be seen like this. I don't know. It just felt like it feels unnecessary to make him look like a fool.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right. I feel like this show was very successful at making the Jedi look like fools. For sure.
But not in like the arrogant way that we've seen in the prequels, because we have seen that the Jedi can be fools. They get so prideful and arrogant that they think they can do no wrong.
Dumb.
Yeah, that's like a whole nother thing. Yeah. But literally, they just make them look stupid.
Yeah,
like they're too stupid to realize what's going on. And like Mog, who is Vernestra's Padawan, or not even Padawan. I don't know. Is that her Padawan, or is he a Jedi Knight? I think he's a Jedi Knight. That dude was just a goof.
Yeah.
He was just a goof overall.
I feel like I could beat him in a lightsaber battle.
Bro, literally. I'm like, if I was on a planet and, you know, we were being like oppressed or whatever, and they sent Mog come help out, I'd be like, really? Seriously? Well, fuck me.
Empire wins.
Dude, I just don't get it. But moving on to the next thing, which happened right after, when Sol is chasing after May, the tracker guy, Basil sabotages the ship. Why? Why? He's kind of been like doing his own thing.
He's been a nuisance.
He has. And you know, Yord was complaining. He's like, we need a tracker just to find our tracker. And I was like, and he's kind of just been like going off, doing his own thing, even though he's supposed to be like kind of like an employee of the Jedi. And yeah, he doesn't seem like a very good employee if that's what his role is supposed to be.
Why'd he crash the ship?
What? I don't know. And
we'll never know.
I mean, maybe he knew that they needed to go to the planet, so he was doing that so Saul would end up on the planet. Soul. Sorry. I don't know why he disabled the ship. I just
was it because he thought Soul was gonna crash into May's ship and kill her?
Either that, or he thought he was gonna kill himself with how he was flying the ship. I don't know. There's just no explanation. All we get is this little gopher dude just messing with the ship, and then they crash. They crash land on Brendok. So,
dude, don't even fucking tell me. Brendok, bro, I think we spent way too much time on Brendok.
Oh my God, I hated Brendok so much. Every time they brought it back, I was like, shut the fuck up.
Even though that's where the Virgins was, I was like, bro, God damn, get the fuck off Brendok.
You know, again, when we were talking about them keeping things under wraps, not a single Jedi sensed these Jedi deaths. Now, I have seen, you know, people complain like, how does Yoda not sense this? Blah, blah, blah.
That was my question is, as we see Yoda at the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
Like we see Yoda sense when Order 66 is happening. I know that's on a much larger scale.
Huge scale.
And
he felt that immediately.
Yeah, immediately. But I'm like, there's no way. I don't know.
I feel like he should have been able to sense it. But we do know that there is, that Coruscant is built on a Sith temple, or the Jedi temple is built on a Sith temple, and sometimes that can cloud their force sensitive abilities. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I doubt it. But you know, if Yoda doesn't sense it, that's fine. It is kind of like it's a much smaller scale, not a huge group of people. But at the same time, you feel you do feel those things in the Force with people that you are close to. That we do know. That you are emotionally attached to. So I'm like, there is not a single Jedi that was close to any of these Jedi and was like, and like sensed like, oh, they just fucking died. Not a single one. They must have not been very popular at the Jedi Temple. That would be my thing.
Okay.
So I don't know. Again, this is me like nitpicking. Now we get to Plagueis. The Plagueis reveal. Yes, it was underwhelming. So I have seen like 2 theories on this. So the main one that people are saying is that he is studying Osha and May to learn how to create life.
Yeah.
So they did it. So this is the theory that, you know, the witches did it before him and he's just watching and learning and trying to figure out how to do it himself. And again, that's not even mentioning, you know, this is another birth date change because Plagueis shouldn't look like that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Theory 2 is he somehow influenced the witches and kind of, I'm not sure if this one's more believable or not, but maybe he like influenced the witches or created life like through the witches, and he's just kind of, but he like let them believe that they did it on their own.
So he's using the witches like a pawn.
Yeah, and he's just like, and now he's like following up on his work, which would be Osha and May.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if that's better or worse. I think
that would be better.
I think I like it better in the sense that Plagueis is,
yes,
as his name is, Plagueis the Wise, the one who, you know, figured out how to create life with the Force, which is an incredible feat. But again, it's, you know, the existence of these twins still diminishes Anakin's existence. So either way, that part, I feel like it can't be fixed because of how they claim these 2 girls came to be.
In what way? So I just want to hear your opinion on, and in what way it diminishes Anakin's birth.
The more power you give other things, it's gonna downplay what we have already. Like what made Anakin so special is that he was created by the Force, and he's the only being that we know of that was created this way, which is why he was the chosen one. You give it to 2 more people,
and then you can give it to who knows how many more.
Exactly.
Right,
It's a very slippery slope.
Right.
So yeah, like if like anything like that is gonna create the insinuation that Anakin's not as special as we thought he was.
Right. That man, this is a ballsy show. The more you talk about it,
I know. It literally starts off with these girls that were created through the Force, and I'm like, that never fucking happens except one time, and that kid was the chosen one.
Yeah, this is a ballsy.
It's
show.
Ballsy as fuck to do that.
Yeah, and to do it with this show.
Yeah. And to do it with this average ass show, this shitty to average show,
an uninteresting character. I did not give a fuck about Osha and May, and I think the performances were just so stale by Amanda Steinberg.
I couldn't give a fuck about either one.
Yeah,
May and Osha's fight scene was stupid as shit. They were literally doing the same exact moves against each other, and I'm like,
because they're yin and yang.
I don't care how you can show that they're equals without having them do the same exact moves. I get that they explain that they're the same person.
Yeah.
But they've lived as 2 different people.
Yes.
And they've had 2 different lives.
Yes.
2 different masters.
Yes.
How the fuck would they know to fight the exact same way?
It's true.
Chimere would have taught her a much different way to fight. And Soul, God, is it Soul? Soul. And Soul would have taught Osha to fight a very different way.
That's true.
And why the fuck do they do this? What is this? What is this?
Their battle stance, bro.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
They're war ready.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And to be honest, I had totally forgotten about that cringy intro. Attack me.
Oh yeah.
Attack me. All right, now we move on to Osha's turn, which was
Osha's turn. I felt was
people complain about Anakin's turn being rushed.
Right.
This was faster than that.
Oh, 1,000 times faster.
Beginning of this episode, she still had wanted nothing to do with the dark side.
Yeah, she refused
and by the
his
end
training
of this,
twice.
By the end of this 40 minute or whatever episode, she's full on using dark powers and bleeding a kyber crystal.
Yeah.
Which is actually very difficult to do.
And force choking Soul.
Yeah.
I think the first ever force choke.
Bled a crystal and did a force choke at the same time.
Yeah.
As Soul is trying to explain himself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I did think it was interesting how nobody managed to mention the fact that her mother was turning into dark side
demon.
force ghost. Yeah, so whatever the fuck was happening. And the same thing was happening to May. I think he's going to want to stop a child from turning into black smoke.
No, I don't know if this show was trying to make us feel bad for the witches, but
I don't know.
I mean, it failed at it. I didn't feel bad for them at all.
Had absolutely no sympathy
and
for
like
them.
there was still no animosity towards May, but May fucking did burn down the whole village, and
that's another thing I'll bring up in a second. And then last thing of me nitpicking this finale, when May lost her memory, she did not act like she lost her memory. Not confused as to where am I? Who are you? Why are you arresting me? She apparently lost the last 16 years of her life and is just totally calm and peaceful but just confused.
Her delivery of, did I do? I'm telling you, man, the delivery, man, the acting just was not there.
Shit. Yeah. Acting was shit.
It was shit.
But yeah, that's those are the things that bothered me with this finale and just like left me like, what the fuck? Like, why? How is that possible? And, you know, again, just them being bold as hell.
That is fucking bold, man. That's one way to put it.
So bold.
Because back to OSHA force choking Soul and bleeding a kyber crystal.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that she shouldn't be able or that she shouldn't be able to do that. If you want her to be able to do that, that's fine. But it's how quickly it happens. Like, this is a character who hadn't really tapped into the force and who knows how long since her whole show, since her Padawan training, hasn't really tapped into the force, and she's all of a sudden just easily and so quickly force choking Soul and bleeding a kyber crystal. It just, there's no build up there.
Nothing.
That's why there's no payoff in the show, because nothing has a build up in it.
And you know, there is such thing as like a mid-season finale, like a mid-season finale. Yeah. Or like, you know, maybe episode 6, you could have given us something showing OSHA is, you know, tapping into her connection to the force.
Well, we saw her trap Chimere and like her witch powers like her mom did.
That looked unintentional.
Yeah, no, it was.
And I'm like I'm saying, could we have seen her intentionally use her force powers to a very strong degree? Could we have seen that once?
Right.
Before you have her do this in the finale.
Right.
And show what she's capable of.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Because really, she hadn't done shit.
Nothing just has a build up, so I don't think there's really a payoff. And that goes back to that flashback episode as well. With episode 7.
Episode 3 and 7.
Well, 3 and 7.
That was probably the most ill-timed flashback episode you could have inserted into this show.
Because episodes 1 through 6, like, is just Soul having something to tell OSHA. Like, we know there's something on Soul's chest that he's needing to tell OSHA. And as we're about to get him expressing his feelings and what really happened.
Yeah.
We get a flashback the whole episode just from the Jedi perspective. I'm like, I would have much rather have seen
Soul tell that story.
Soul tell that to OSHA, or have that shock factor
to May.
Well, not even to May, like,
or to anybody.
Like,
honestly.
the first time of, like, have the first time we find out what really happened that night. Make that in the finale of Soul telling OSHA to really give us that shock factor.
Yeah,
which you kind of need in TV. You really need that shock factor.
Yeah, because we kind of believed this whole time that May was responsible for killing everybody in the Coven. All we knew, it was just a fire that she started. And yeah, you could have just said that You could have revealed that Soul was actually the one to kill
Right, because when
her mother.
when Osha does finally learn about what happened, it really has no weight to it because we've known this for 2 episodes already.
Yeah. And Osha's just the last person to catch up on it.
Yeah, so it just holds no weight when that finally does happen.
And not to mention that episode 7 was literally a recap of episode 3 for the most part, with like a few new details in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing on Brendock again? Dude, I couldn't stand the flashback episodes. Couldn't stand them. I guess people who were complaining that we never got to see the Wookiee Jedi fight, you got to see that
in the flashback.
flashback. But other than that, I have nothing positive to say about episode 7.
No.
That was awful. But from the get-go, so this is something that bothered me from the very beginning.
What?
From episode 3. How the fuck would Osha know about the Jedi? How the fuck would she know? How would she know what the Jedi are other than what her coven and what her mother would have told her? Where did she get this notion that the Jedi are good people?
Right.
Where did she get it?
Because clearly the coven did not think of the Jedi in that light.
No.
Yeah.
May hated them. Her mother hated them. The entire coven hated the Jedi and wanted nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Where is she getting this information? Why is she fantasizing about becoming a Jedi? Who gave her the idea? She's a fucking child. She would need access to this information to learn it.
I don't know.
But no, she wants to leave her coven and go be a Jedi.
And I thought the instant emotional connection with Osha and Soul was weird too.
Yeah.
It's like he's a Jedi master. He's not supposed to be having these immediate emotional connections with people.
Yeah. No, that was Soul's like fatal flaws. He was just so emotional and connected to people.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you could nitpick in this show.
Yeah, you could.
Like I saw Star Wars Theory talking about in the flashback where we see Soul holding up the 2 bridges.
Right.
How about the girls? They're pretty light. Right. But this man was struggling to hold up 2 bridges.
Yeah.
But chooses
It's just like little things like that you can tell just didn't get much thought.
No.
Like, you know what? Let's write this scene. Okay, let's go through it. All right. But there's also this possibility. Like, let's look back. Let's look back and analyze what we just wrote. You know what? Saul, he really could lift both of the girls if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think they probably weighed what, like 70 pounds, 90 pounds?
If that, yeah.
Instead of a fucking 500-pound bridge on each side.
Right.
Why?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I swear, it's like you should go through what you're writing and just be like, and, you know, just think like, if this were me in this situation, how could I handle this differently and do it better?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can do it better, something's wrong with the writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just annoying. Also, dude, like I said, I'm nitpicking here, but how the fuck did the fire start? How the fuck did the fire start? No, she dropped a candle type thing, just something to light up the hallway. It landed by brick, metal, and electronics. So what lit on fire?
It was an oil mining building?
I don't think it was it oil?
Yeah, no, it was. So it was just ready to blow from this little candle?
I don't know. But if that's the case, that must have been the first candle ever dropped in this entire place.
Yeah, that's true. The whole building has candles in this oil mining rig.
I was just like, seriously, what caught on fire?
Yeah.
A metal door caught on fire. Electronics caught on fire. I get that electronics can like spark.
Yeah. And
maybe they have like, you know, plastic coatings on the wiring. Those can melt and catch on fire. But it would generally stay contained to what it's in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, this is just like the
it was a big ass
like
fire. That was a big ass fire.
And I know people are gonna come after me, be like, yeah, we're in a world of Star Wars and fantasy, and you're gonna get mad about the logistics of this. I'm like, yes, because there is a sense of like realism and physics and just like how the things in the world work.
Right. Physics, yes.
Like these aren't, like it is Star Wars, but it is kind of like we do take real world aspects and put them in there.
And that's how
what I mean?
That's how these people create these worlds.
Yeah, like wood burns. We know that. Mm-hmm. Wood is a thing that burns, which is why even in Star Wars, they use firewood to start a fire. Mm-hmm. They're not going to use a fucking piece of metal.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what I'm saying. We already covered this other shit, but 2 more things. The bug that Soul killed, why was that a big deal? I feel like if those were true Jedi Knights, any one of them could have just whipped out a lightsaber. Done.
We talked about that.
We did talk about that before.
I was like, it was just made way more dramatic than what it really needed to be.
It was way too dramatic. And then May turning on her master, on Chimere. Again, why? Like, it was just no buildup, no realization, no nothing, to where May, who has been training for years, she has been training for years with a dark side master to get her vengeance and kill these Jedi Masters who took her family from her. And this was her sole mission the entire time. And all of a sudden they're running through the woods and she's like, actually, I already killed, 2 people or 3 people at this point? I actually already killed 3 people at this point, but you know what? I'm going to turn to the Jedi and hope that they'll listen to me and they're going to pardon me because of the information I have. What the fuck are you talking about? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? Where is your logic? And if that's really what you wanted to do, the second you got out of your master's presence and, you were going out to kill your first Jedi master, the first thing you would have done is gone to the Jedi and betrayed him. Not after 3 murders later.
It's like I said, there's no buildup in this show.
There's no buildup. There's just no explanation. There's just no explanation. It's just people saying, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
Why? What is that going to do for you? And also, where did May get this compassion that she didn't want to, in the finale, that she didn't want to see Soul die? Where is this compassion coming from? You were on a murderous mission for 4 Jedi at the start of this show.
I don't know.
And there's just no character development, and it just immediately flips. And as far as I know, when we saw her at the beginning of this episode, she still wanted Soul dead.
Yeah.
As far as I knew. Fucking Christ, bro. I didn't think I hated this show as much as I did.
I didn't think so either.
But yeah, I feel like Star Wars is just one of the few things that I do get passionate about. Under no circumstance has this show been amazing. Even by regular TV standards, not even by Star Wars standards and the lore and everything like that. Just general TV standards. The acting was very mid. Mm-hmm. The storytelling was terrible. The show dragged. It felt like it wouldn't move on.
Yeah.
And in a show that is 8 episodes long, it should never fucking drag. We should never spend too much time in one place.
I mean, it's funny you say that because even with amazing shows like The Boys, I thought season 4 was starting to drag a little.
Yeah.
And these last few episodes have definitely progressed a lot more. But
no, I agree.
Right. Yeah.
I agree. But, I think The Boys has built up a reputation enough to where, if you slack on a season, I'm not going to absolutely hate you for it because
for sure.
You have given us 3 seasons of an amazing superhero show.
Yes.
It's been incredible, but do better.
I mean, if you are defending this show, I mean, props to you. You're better people than us. Look, I do agree. Objectively, it would be very hard to say this is an amazing show. There are objective flaws.
Yeah,
in this show.
Honestly, and I'm gonna stick to the storytelling one that to me,
and the acting especially.
And the acting, yeah, I feel like those are the 2 objective things you can look at this as a person who's never even seen Star Wars.
Right.
And you can look at that and be like, why did they do it this way? Mm-hmm. And also one, just seeing the acting's not great.
Mm-mm.
And then I like building up in episode 6 and actually getting me excited for the next episode and going back in a flashback for episode 7.
Yeah, I was
Like
intrigued.
that
I was
made-
intrigued with episode 6, and then
episode 6 was where I was like, okay, this might have some saving grace.
Mhm.
Episode 7 and 8 could save this show, and I'll be okay with it. And then episode 7 destroyed it, and then episode 8 just took a shit in my mouth.
oh shit. Yeah, acting, man, especially the actress of Venestra, the Green Jedi Master.
So unlikable.
What the fuck was that acting, man? It's so stale.
It's fake as hell.
It's so stale. It's
Also,
like,
that council she was talking to looked like the Muppets.
I think Leslie Headland was in that council meeting. Yeah, I think she was actually. I noticed her. It's funny. There was one interview I was watching. Well, it was Star Wars Theory reacting to a video, to an interview that she did about, having to explain herself, after an episode.
Yeah.
As she had to do this whole season. And I wasn't even really one to watch Star Wars Theories a lot. I was just like, you know what?
Dude, he's funny.
He can be pretty funny. I was like, I'm just going to get some different Star Wars opinions that I don't usually listen to. And yeah, it was pretty funny. But she was doing an interview where she said she always found it weird how Obi-Wan explained to Luke how Anakin turned to the dark side and how he was seduced by the dark side. And she said she always thought that was weird terminology of how Anakin turned to the dark side, like he was seduced by the dark side.
Uh-huh.
And then in episode 6, Khmer and Osha, you were literally giving us Khmer, you were literally giving us him seducing her to the dark side.
Yeah.
Like, not metaphorically, literally seducing her to the dark side as, the last shot of them together.
Yeah.
He grabbed her hand as we assume a romantic relationship is building. He's literally seducing her to the dark side.
Yeah. But I mean, it does make sense though. Like the dark side has always been seen as like, this freedom from the constricting rules of the Jedi Order, which
sex.
Yeah, well that too. But I mean, like giving into emotion and everything, like that does, for somebody who's been forced to control themselves and cut off emotional attachments, that does sound very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
That those are great points to make to somebody who is struggling with that part of their training as a Jedi.
Yeah, I just found it weird that
just to give into it. You don't need to fight it. It's actually it's a power. You should give into it.
I just found it weird that she thought it was weird that Anakin was seduced to the dark side, metaphorically, but she's given us a character that is literally seducing Osha to the dark side.
Who knows? Maybe Anakin was kissing Palpatine on the side. Like,
I think what this show is trying to do is like really make us dislike the Jedi Order. Now, we all know the Jedi Order is not perfect. We all know the Jedi Council was arrogant and made foolish decisions that led to their demise.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was still light versus dark.
And their ideals were in the right place, just not executed properly.
And I think what the Acolyte does in sort of a way is so like, well, you know what? Actually, the dark side, it's not that bad. We're just using it in different ways, but we're using it for good purposes.
I agree that I feel like they were trying to make the witches sympathetic,
or maybe they're trying to make us sympathize with the dark side more. You know what I mean? Maybe not so much build up like a gray area, but like I don't know, make us seem like the dark side is the good side.
I don't know if that was their intention. I mean, shit, when you give the dark side a handsome face like Khmer, it doesn't seem so bad, right?
Right.
But
he's probably the hottest dark side user before Anakin got burned up.
That we've seen, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, all the rest of them ugly looking.
Yeah, but that's mainly because it doesn't last, because the dark side literally distorts your body.
Right. Let's go to, speaking of distorting your body, let's go to the Kyber crystal bleeding.
Okay.
To Osha bleeding the Kyber crystal.
Yeah.
So she is clearly using the dark side in that scene
Mhm.
when she's force choking Osha. She's very emotional. She is channeling her anger, her repressed feelings, but that's still not to the level to be able to like bleed a kyber crystal that quickly. No, I mean Anakin literally had yellow Sith eyes in Revenge of the Sith, but he still had a blue lightsaber. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. And that I think that just goes with bleeding a kyber crystal isn't normally something you just do.
Right.
Like, it's something you do need to focus on and try to do.
The process.
It is. And it's not something that one does unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if it was done unintentionally with the amount of hatred and, dark side energy that was in Anakin, his blade should have turned red.
Right.
If we're applying the same logic here.
Right.
So, I see what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why it's just another reason why that scene was kind of stupid.
Like, it's cool that we got to see a kyber crystal be bled, but
I mean, technically that was already canon because the Jedi Survival is
Jedi Survivor game.
Survivor, they bleed a kyber crystal in that. So technically that is what made it canon.
To bleed it that quickly?
Well, he does bleed it quickly actually. And I think what people go back to is there's a Darth Vader comic where he really struggles with it.
Yes.
But that's because it is Darth Vader and it's still Anakin in there and he's still very conflicted. So that's why it wasn't so simple.
Mm-hmm. But you're telling me Osha's not conflicted?
No, she's definitely conflicted.
That's what I'm saying,
no,
bro.
I know. But like there was the main villain or not main villain, but one of the villains in Jedi Survivor. He wasn't conflicted at all.
Mm-hmm.
He turned his crystal pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But again, he used the Force to take his kyber crystal out of his lightsaber, was holding it in the air with the Force, and you could see it slowly turn red as he was like falling deeper into darkness, and then turn red. So like again, he intentionally did it. I mean, we could go on and on about
we could
the Star Wars lore and how things are supposed to be done, and
just too much lore. Too much.
It's a lot of lore. There's a lot of room for nitpicking in this show. But even at the end of the day, like you take all that aside, you could still just watch this not knowing shit about Star Wars.
That's true.
And you would still look at it and be like, that was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how people are watching this and saying how good it is. I feel like any objective viewer could look at this and just be like, I didn't really feel a connection to anybody.
Right. Last thing too, a lot of people are talking about the budget of the Acolyte, which was $180 million, and you just don't really feel it in this show. There are some good scenes, as in the lightsaber battles, like good fight choreography, but even the big lightsaber battle we got was in a very confined area in the jungle. Like the show does not feel very grand, as to where I feel like Andor really excelled in having that big budget and took advantage of that. And you felt that on their sets and the shots. And you just don't really feel that in the Acolyte. I mean, $180 million. Like for reference, Revenge of the Sith had a $113 million budget, adjusted for inflation, $181 million budget. So same budget as Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Had a bigger budget than The Mandalorian at $120 million, and twice the budget of Obi-Wan at $90 million. I think that's the most confusing part, is like, there's no way Disney's not laundering shit. Because I mean, how are you going to give the Acolyte $180 million budget, but Obi-Wan, and that's going to have Darth Vader and have the return of Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. Two big name ass actors.
Going to be your biggest Disney Plus Star Wars series, your most viewers, your highest viewership, but you're going to give it half the budget of the Acolyte? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Nope.
That doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Obi-Wan and Anakin, it has two of your biggest characters in all of Star Wars.
They got to be money laundering. They got to be.
Like, it's not that I'm complaining so much that this had $180 million budget. It's just like, how are you going to give that? How are you going to give this $180 mil?
Was there a lot of reshoots with this? I could see that being a thing.
I did not hear of any reshoots.
I don't know.
Usually you hear about that stuff.
True, but I feel like that when you see projects with a strangely high budget, it's normally because of reshoots, I feel like. But again, yeah, we probably would have heard about that. So I'm not sure if that was even a thing here.
Right.
But yeah, just lazy writing, shitty acting, bad character development. I really don't have anything positive to say about this other than Chimere and the lightsaber fights. And, you know, there might not even be saving grace in those lightsaber fights other than the fact that they look cool. Because, like I said, there are breakdowns that they're like, yeah, this looks like shit if you break it down.
I'm not going to look too much into the breakdowns of the fights because from what I could see, like I was enjoying it and I thought it was better than what we got choreography wise than the sequels.
I agree. But you know, also like everybody talks about that red room scene.
Yeah, everyone talks about it.
And dude, did you ever watch the breakdown of that? I feel like I forcibly showed this to you.
I think you did once.
Cause if you watch the breakdown, it is laughably bad. It is laughably bad in The Last Jedi.
I remember like there's like one guy that lliterally stops what he's doing.
I think he literally like throws himself into a stab. He throws himself in, and then there's like another guy who doesn't even get hit and like he falls down. So it's just shit like that.
Yeah.
Like it looks cool, sure, but if you slow it down, which people will do,
right,
it looks bad.
Go ahead and rank these Disney Plus live action Star Wars shows for me.
So ranking these Star Wars shows, at number 1, I am going to put The Mandalorian. First 2 seasons were chef's kiss. They were beautiful. Love the characters we got in there, and obviously fell off in season 3. Unfortunately, I don't know. It just seemed like everything we were building up to just kind of fell apart. At number 2, I think I am going to go Andor.
Okay.
I genuinely thought that this was some of the best acting that we've gotten out of any of the Star Wars shows, and it has nothing to do with Jedi or lightsabers.
Guess what? They got some senior vets for that between Stellan Skarsgård and Andy Serkis.
Bro, I know, and it showed. I thoroughly enjoyed like pretty much every episode of Andor.
Oh, and Adriana Arjona, who's fantastic as well.
At number 3, I am gonna go Obi-Wan Kenobi
over Ahsoka.
I think they both.
I think Ahsoka has the more interesting story. When it comes to the highs, I think are pretty high in Obi-Wan, but the lows are definitely lower.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka overall, I feel like was a little more consistent.
It was a little more consistent. And yeah, it is those highs that is why I think I'm gonna put Kenobi at number 3.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, maybe it is the nostalgia factor, but yeah, we do have Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor coming back to reprise their most famous roles of all time. And yeah, like I probably won't forgive them for the episode where it's like him and Leia like running around that city the whole episode. I hated that shit. But yeah, the highs were really good. And right after that, I am going to put Ahsoka. That one did have some good highs too, though. Like that Anakin Ahsoka fight, that was really cool.
True.
It is a continuation of Rebels, which I do love. They brought back Thrawn, and he's a great villain. They got the same voice actor too. I think
interesting character in Baylan Skoll.
Yeah.
Sounds like you want to put it at 3.
I know. I think I do actually. All right. I'll change that. I'll go Ahsoka at 3, Kenobi at 4.
Okay.
And then Boba Fett at 5 and Acolyte at 6.
Okay.
Boba Fett, all the scenes with the Tusken Raiders I loved. After that, it just got goofy as hell. It was him saying, "I'm Daimyo of Mos Espa,"
and Mando stealing a whole episode.
Yeah, and I kind of forgot about the Mando episode. That one was really good.
It was a good episode.
It was a great episode,
but stole it.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, it's part of Boba Fett. So yeah, and then I think Acolyte is got to be at the bottom. I think Chimera is like literally more likable than anybody that we saw in Boba Fett, but it's just not enough.
Well, they sidelight him once they
I know.
introduce
No,
us to
like
him.
I said, yeah, it's literally not enough to put that over anything else. So yeah, Mando, Andor, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett, and then Acolyte.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I stuttered on Ahsoka at 3. Ahsoka belongs at 3. And I do like that we got to see the world between worlds and that.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I think the fact that it being a continuation of Rebels,
It helps it. It does help it.
Makes
I
it more
agree.
interesting. And having like the theories like in that ending of him searching for Mortis.
Mm-hmm. It seems like the action sequences. It's funny. I feel like it's the action sequences that bother me in Ahsoka, and I feel like if they could have gotten that down, I would have said Ahsoka at 3, no question.
Right. No, I think the action sequence between Ahsoka and Anakin in the world between worlds was good.
That was like the only good one.
And go figure, Hayden Christensen was part of that fight.
Shocking.
Lightsaber Academy, Hayden Christensen.
Bro, literally, that man's got that shit down to memory.
But yeah, the like big final battle between when you had Ahsoka and Ezra against all those
stormtroopers.
Yeah, but the
zombified stormtroopers. Yeah,
it just felt very slow.
It was so slow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, unfortunately, that did bring Ahsoka down for me. And then also just like. And this is another action thing. People getting stabbed with lightsabers and not dying. Like, that is forever going to piss me off. Because
Qui-Gon should be alive.
Dude, yes. Like, seriously, if it was this easy to survive a lightsaber stab, why is Qui-Gon dead?
Yeah.
Like, that shit just keeps pissing me off. It's like, why couldn't she have gotten an injury that doesn't look fatal?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It just seems unnecessary.
Yeah. Odd choices. Bold choices lately.
Dude, I know. It's like, I don't get it. It's like, things just keep happening that make things in the past seem stupid.
Right.
Like, oh, you get stabbed by a lightsaber. You can survive that. Then why the fuck didn't Qui-Gon?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a major plot point because if he would have survived, I guarantee you Anakin would not have gone to the dark side.
Yeah, it is a major plot point. Because then, although I'm also very happy they brought Darth Maul back. Again, Darth Maul, he got his body chopped in half and survived.
Literally. I mean, maybe this is me being biased, but I think the exception with him, though, is, dude, that man had so much hatred. He was so strong in the dark side of the Force. That was literally his will to survive. His mission to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi is what was keeping him alive. Like when his brother found him and he had like that scorpion body or whatever, or spider body, he was constantly using the Force to move around on his legs like that.
Damn.
Like he never stopped for a moment.
Damn.
So I don't know. Maybe that's me being biased, but
yeah.
I just found it all the more impressive.
All right. Well, there's our review on the Acolyte. As you can probably tell, didn't really enjoy it. And honestly, for the first half, I really was giving it a chance.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? First 2 episodes.
Same.
Not bad.
I try not to go in with a negative attitude.
Episode 3, dog shit. Episode 4, okay, interesting. You got the big lightsaber battle in 5.
What happened in 5?
The big lightsaber battle in the beginning.
What?
And
was
made
that
OSHA switch places.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
6,
it just really fell apart.
Yeah, I feel like it finally got something going with 4, 5, 6, and then
honestly, episode 7 is what really started bringing it down in avalanche mode.
Mm-hmm. And then episode 8 just didn't resolve anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, waste your time. Don't waste your time. You pick. I don't know.
It's all up to you.
If you're watching this, you probably have already watched it and wanted to hear somebody shit on it or praise it.
Yeah.
You got shit on it here, so and for the love of God, give Sam Witwer a live action role already. Good Lord.
Yeah.
That if anybody deserves it, it's that fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's so good and just understands the Star Wars world so well.
Yeah, his voices go crazy.
It's awesome.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Blake. As always, with me, my co-host, Garrett, and we'll see y'all next time on Duck Takes.
See ya.